Oh man, I'm furious.
WTF!
Bon qui, je m'appelle Ross Twiddell from Cultaholic.com, your Cultaholic heavyweight champion, the best looking championship title belt in the wrestling world today. A wrestling world that includes Daniel Bryan's new vegan alternative WWE Championship, and quite frankly, WWE, you're welcome for the idea. Yes, back on December the 5th, I was like, how WWE? Daniel Bryan's been a hypocrite, give him a vegan alternative championship, and what did they do? They took their time, but we finally got there, and it was unveiled last night. And slap my ass and call me Betty, but take away the blue nonsense from that thing there, and that thing there is one of the best looking championship titles in the wrestling world today. Why aren't more title belts made from wood? It looks delightful. It's no mahogany, mind, but stained oak. Ho. So with that nonsense dealt with, please let me tell you, we have launched a gaming channel fronted by Ben Potter and Peter Austin. Double Jump it's called. Go and subscribe by using the link in the pinned comment just below me feet. And with that out the way as well, let's crack on with the reason you are here looking at my ugly mug. Let's take a look at all the WTF moments from last night's SmackDown Live, which once again was another fantastic episode of SmackDown Live. There's some insight for you. I'm going for it. I've got to be honest with you, with the opening 7.5 minutes of last night's SmackDown Live containing no WTF moments whatsoever, I've panicked, and this is coming in. Becky Lynch claims that she's proud of the journey she's been on recently because, and I quote, nobody handed me nothing. So somebody must have handed her something then. That's a double negative, Rebecca, and I'm sorry for bringing that up. One Cultaholic signed at last night's SmackDown Live, and it was the same Cultaholic sign that was at this week's WWE Raw. Thank you once again to Sean Kelly for spreading the good name of Cultaholic throughout the WWE Universe. And while I'm here, I saw a comment on yesterday's video for the Raw WTF moments lambasting me for not bringing up a sign that's apparently been at the Royal Rumble, I think at TakeOver as well, at Raw and at SmackDown Live. And then I flicked on the Cultaholic Twitter machine this morning and saw a direct message from Adam Tanner complaining that despite the fact he's tweeted me all these days in a row saying look at me sign, include it in WTF moments, it hasn't been included. And guess what? Adam Tanner's Twitter account, you might be asking, was set to private. There's no wonder I didn't see it, you flaming numpty. An AEW shirt, on the front row, on the hard cam side of the arena. It's almost as if WWE realised, bloody hell, we cannot strip somebody of their basic human rights after that bollocks that was promoted all over the world of social media from the Royal Rumble on Sunday. And just in case you missed it, WWE forced a man who was in the front row on the hard cam side of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view to take off his AEW shirt, and they just, they stripped him. You can't do that. And next up we have Daniel Bryan vowing to change the climate of WWE. Isn't that a bad thing? Now I remember way back in the day when I was young seeing that fella on the big old cherry picker pointing at the screen going, look at the polar bears swimming where their houses used to be. So then, surely by wanting to cause some climate change in WWE, Daniel Bryan wants to kill the place where he works and where he earns his money, which in turn makes him able to live. Seems a bit counterproductive, doesn't it? So since R-Truth was battered by Nia Jax on Sunday and had his spot in the Royal Rumble match taken away from him, the McMahon's granted him a shot at the United States Championship. And I tell you what, I do hope that when she's fit enough, Lana gets a shot at the SmackDown Live Women's Championship, since she had the same thing done to her on Sunday by Becky Lynch. Oh no! Wait there. We live in a world where a supposedly fully fledged trained professional wrestler, a proper bona fide WWE superstar, takes one bump in a professional wrestling ring with a man landing slightly near her, and that kills her. So in summary, there's no way back for Lana as a professional wrestler, is there? Well done, WWE. A second AEW shot on the hard cam side of the arena at last night's SmackDown Live. I tell you what, Chris Jericho was right when he said that AEW is going to take over the universe, wasn't he? R-Truth beats Shinsuke Nakamura now. R-Truth is United States champion. Still not the most far-fetched or ridiculous or sweaty champion on SmackDown Live, but close. Nakamura kicked out. We all know this, don't we? Shinsuke Nakamura kicked out. Now cast your minds back to last week's WTF moments when I mentioned that when Curt Hawkins was booked to be the single best professional wrestling referee in the history of professional wrestling referees, if I was an actual WWE referee, I'd have been pissed off to see somebody, a newcomer, a not proper professional referee, booked so strong in the job that I'm supposed to be a professional at. And after this, that point has only been confounded because by doing this, Mike Chioda has proven we should just fire all the proper WWE referees and have Curt Hawkins referee every single match because he's head and shoulders above the rest of the stripy zebra men. I cannot believe it, everybody. they've turned Rusev diddler. In the Cultaholic Wrestling podcast sense of the word, of course. Cast your minds back to a year ago. Rusev Day was the hottest thing in WWE, but for whatever reason, the company never fully got behind it. They loved the t-shirt money though, didn't they? The most popular t-shirt they had at one stage, but for whatever reason, they pissed it all away with one night in Milwaukee. But I don't care, alright? Rusev was a diddler when he became my Bane spirit animal all the way back in 2015 or whatever year it was, and he's a diddler once again. Once a diddler, always a diddler. In the Cultaholic Wrestling podcast sense of the word, of course. Rusev all the way. So it looked like Ronald Mysterious and Andrade were supposed to be doing the graps once again on SmackDown Live last night. Rey came out, he was waiting in the ring, Zelina Vega appeared, said some sass, and then Andrade appeared in his lovely grey suit to attack Rey from behind. Now, as we all know, in the land of the Fabe, apart from those impromptu match confirmed by Colonel McSweaty during the commercial break, every single match that takes place in a WWE ring is supposedly contractually agreed upon. So surely by doing what he did on last night's SmackDown Live, Andrade was in breach of said contractually agreed match, and he should be fired. I mean, I'm happy he hasn't been fired, of course, but, you know, principles. He should be fired, shouldn't he? Is this a botch? Are they supposed to be on SmackDown Live? The way they've been used, or not used more like, in recent times you think they're not supposed to be on anything to do with WWE whatsoever. I quite possibly believe they were dead. But they were on last night's SmackDown Live, so I guess it's got to be a WTF moment then, doesn't it? Rusev, what the hell are you doing, man? That man there hit your wife upside the head. I don't care if R-Truth got a fluke pitiful victory over you on last night's SmackDown Live. Shinsuke Nakamura twacked your wife upside the head. You don't go tag teaming with a man that twacked your wife upside the head. And you know what, Rusev? It's time for your best friend in the entire world to tell you some truths. That tag team there, combined with your horrible lack of concern for your dead wife, slightly injured wife at the Royal Rumble on Sunday, it's not a good look, pal. Change it. Oh, for Christ's sake, look at this dirty, filthy, horrible, stinking Mark wearing his newly won SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships with his day-to-day street clothes. What a horrible mark. Who the hell does that, man? If this was the heel Shane McMahon we were supposed to be getting after Crown Jewel in the World Cup and the victory that crowned him the best professional wrestler in the world, fair enough. But it's not, is it? He's still a babyface, but he just looks like a dick who's not in on the joke. And anyway, Colonel McSweaty Bollocks, surely you of all people should not be wearing a WWE Championship right there, because with the sweat that pisses off your forehead, it'll drip down and harm the silverness somehow, won't it? Didn't think about that, did you? That is the exact reaction every single person in the world should be doing to Shane McMahon not only being the new SmackDown Live Tag Team Champion, but also being the best professional wrestler in the planet Earth. Aye, she's frozen in fear there while the rest of the world, they're all going, ah. And believe it or not, it got worse from here. You deserve a chance for Shane McMahon. Phoenix, what the hell's wrong with you? Now, of course, let's leave The Miz out of this part of the WTF Moments video because he's as pure as the driven snow and deserves to be a champion in WWE in 2019. But Shane McMahon, why does he deserve anything? Yes, of course, this angle has been entertaining, but let's remember, at the start of this angle, Shane McMahon wanted nothing to do with it, did he? But then he thought to himself, this is the only way in the world ever where I'll get myself cheered, so let's do it and sweat while we're doing so. And don't you even get me started on Shane McMahon being boot like he's Brock Lesnar all of a sudden. For bare time, fams, the Bar have beaten everybody up in sight. You name a tag team in WWE over the past 2 years or so, the Bar, they've beaten them. They're the modern day APA, for Christ's sake. They're big lads, they're tough men, they beat people up, they go home and they drink some Guinness and don't watch Total Divas. But when they come up against Shane McMahon, oh no, that's straight out the window, isn't it? They go from being the APA to being the dicks. Go and watch that match from the Royal Rumble on Sunday. Entertaining? Yes, it was, but watch it closely and you'll see The Miz, a former WWE champion, get his arse handed to him by the Bar, but then Colonel McSweaty Bollocks swans in, not even a word, don't care. And he thinks, I'm the best professional wrestler in the world, and he beats the Bar up single-handedly. That's the source of my hatred for Shane McMahon, this notion that he's one of the best wrestlers in WWE, better than 3/4 of the roster, who are 20 years younger than the sweaty dick. Shane wasn't even a real wrestler when he was 29, never mind now when he's 49, but all of a sudden he does a few kickboxing classes, he thinks he's Joe Rogan, and he can beat up the Bar single-handedly. I'm not having it. So to summarise, Phoenix, you can stick those you deserve a chance up your arsehole, sideways, so it hurts. Really good thing, Corey. Here's a direct quote from Corey Graves himself. I don't understand why we're celebrating this guy, George, because he's been a crappy dad for like 35 years. Sometimes, Corey Graves, you just say the right thing. You've plucked the words straight out my mouth. Now you look at that graphic there, and one question springs to mind, doesn't it? Where are Sanity? But it turns out that Sanity are so pissed and lost that Big Killian Dane himself doesn't even know where he is. That's a bad place to be, isn't it? Hang on a second there. For the past 2.5 years, we've been told the tale that the SmackDown Live roster is the underdog roster when compared to Raw. Raw, you do things the glitzy and the glamoury way. But SmackDown Live, you earn everything you get. You fight and you get your championships because you fight and you do the right thing. But now look at the state of it. Shane McMahon and The Miz just asked the bar for a tag team championship shot at the Royal Rumble, despite the fact that Colonel McSweaty said, Miz, we're going to have to earn everything we do. We need tune-up matches. We need to scout our opponents. We need to do the things rightly. Wow, God. And now the superstars who were once under Shane McMahon are doing the same as he's doing. On this week's Raw, we saw qualifying matches for the Women's Tag Team Elimination Chamber match, but on SmackDown, Mandy, Rose and Sonya Deville just declared themselves in the match. Lead by example, Shane, you cockwomble. Nuanced storytelling nearly 4 years in the making, WWE. Check yourself out, Mr. Fancy Pants. Well done, WWE. Just a couple of short weeks ago, we had Mandy. Just a couple of short weeks ago in a hotel room, Mandy Rose was saying, I hate Naomi because she isn't as pretty as me. But now, we're getting this. That's a long way. Yep, I wrong. Yep, I wrong. Here's a direct quote from Byron Saxton. I feel like in another life, Otis would be my first cousin. Everybody in WWE, even Vince McMahon himself, is forced to watch television like they're trying to itch their ear hole with their shoulder. But not Colonel McSweaty bollocks. Oh no, he's not forced to stand there like this. He gets a front row seat like he's at the bastard cinema. One rule for all, but not for Colonel McSweaty bollocks, because quite frankly, Colonel McSweaty bollocks is just better. Made a grave mistake, Corey. So according to Corey Graves, Naomi saying to Mandy Rose on Tough Enough all the way back in 2015, how Mandy, I don't think you're tough enough, is classed as hazing in some places. I'll tell you what though, Corey, WWE is certainly not one of those places when you recall JBL in the shower with Edge and the soap. JBL? It's John O'Clock, you bastards! Buy the shirt now. Yet again, needless consumption, waste of resources as that glorious bastard there knocks yet another burger to the floor, and since the 3-second rule was passed, wasting more food just like he did on the kickoff show at the Royal Rumble on Sunday. Just practice what you preach, man, Daniel. Us fat lads can't take one too many burgers being dropped. I'm going to read out what was on Daniel Bryan's t-shirt on last night's SmackDown Live. No violence, no homophobia, no sexism, no racism, freedom, peace, love. Daniel Bryan's a heel. Back to Deep Bryan we go, and this time he claims that Rowan is a man who understands the truth in everything he says. What a weird world we live in, eh? Imagine going back to 2013/2014 and saying that Daniel Bryan would be a more effective cult leader than Bray Wyatt ever could be. After such a short time, Daniel Bryan has already recruited 50% of the people Bray Wyatt did over bear time. Astonishing. And no, I'm not counting Braun, because he lived there with Eric and Luke, didn't he? And I've just realised, Rowan ditching his hammer, ditching the sheep mask he wore for like 7 years. One word springs to mind, doesn't it? Fickle. And now it's time for this. Wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank. Wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank. Hello and welcome to Wankety Wank, and thank you to Hampus for pointing this out about the t-shirt that Eric Rowan was wearing on last night's SmackDown Live, the Pirates. Good old vegan warriors, aren't they? I mean, they did eat fruit to stop the scurvy, apparently. Sam knows this for some reason, but I don't see them being like, like Daniel Bryan, do you? More needless consumption, more waste, Deep Bryan, peace, love and hugs. Not good at them, are you? And I googled this, right? Leather, it can be recycled to make more leather products. Get this one, that belt there, went in a bin to go to a landfill site and to rot. It could have been used to make the arm of a brand new leather jacket as a going away present for Dean Ambrose. But I reckon that whole Ambrose thing's a work, And finally, we have Mustafa Ali saying a ring full of Hall of Famers. Eric Rowan, Hall of Fame. That hemp title is clearly giving off a few fumes, isn't it? And that's it for another car crash WTF Moments episode. Bye. Follow me on Twitter at RossOnWrestling. Place on Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. Follow us on the social medias. Subscribe to our channel and subscribe to Double Jump Inc.